Hi, welcome to another video lesson about system analysis and strategic planning in education. In this video, we will tackle two topics. Zooming to the first topic, which started with setting the organization's priorities. How is it done? Use a Pareto chart. Pareto chart is simply a bar chart where the horizontal axis represents different categories and the vertical axis represents a number of percent. The bars in the chart are ordered from left to right, so a priority order is displayed. Why is Pareto chart used to set the organization's priorities? First, it can be a great help to team members as they make decisions about organizational priorities. It is also a quality tool that helps to separate the significant few from the insignificant many. And the data reported in the chart help inform the priorities and the decision-making follows. Next part of strategic planning is drafting meeting. The key questions are: what would delight the stakeholders? And what information or advice do they have about questions to be included in the survey, where answers will be passed out to planning team, which will be subject to their review before the drafting meeting. Notes of caution: the strategic planning team should consider the significant deviation from priorities displayed in the Pareto chart. The survey must be done correctly with 95% confidence level because it represents the will, opinion, and priorities of the community, meaning stakeholders' consensus. Second, if convictions about new direction or speeding up innovations are strong, don't move ahead with the strategic plan until stakeholders have been informed and are moved to agree with the new directions and set of priorities. Now, here are the agenda in drafting meeting for strategic plan. What should be talked about? Identifying the challenges. Analyze the Pareto chart by focusing the question. 2. What are the greatest challenges or issues the school has to address over the next 5 years in order to provide a quality education for all students? This is to identify the significant few challenges that must be addressed or solved over the next 3 to 5 years. After identifying the challenges, the team may now move to establishing a mission statement. What is a mission statement? As we all know, it is a statement of the most essential outcome the organization hopes to achieve. It's also a description of what the school district ultimately wants to accomplish and the statement of the basic purpose and why the organization exists. Establishing a mission statement is important because it expresses ideas that motivates everyone to action. It develops in the organization pride because of what the statement says about achievement. And it can be a driving force that drives the whole organization to continually focus on what's important and what needs to get accomplished. The strategic planning team have 3 choices. They can give their blessing to the current mission statement, they can modify the current mission statement, or they can develop a new one. In developing a new one and modifying and reconsidering the current mission statement, these are some helpful tips. A phrase is good, the shorter, the better. It needs to be a statement that the staff don't think about because it is easy to remember. And it should also be clearly defined. If, for example, the mission statement is creating world-class learners, there must be a clear definition of what a world-class learner is, and world-class measure that shows how many students are achieving this level of performance. And everyone in organization understands exactly how they can contribute to the accomplishment of the mission. After finalizing the mission statement, the team can now create a vision statement. A vision statement, of course, is a broad and general description of the way that the organization wants its stakeholders to achieve 5 years from now. It gives a brief description about how the organization intends to achieve its mission statement. What do we want to achieve by then? The year the strategic plan ends, usually 5 years into the future. What will the organization look like? What will others say about the organization? What it will be like working in the organization? And what activities or events will happen then? Here are the tips in creating the vision statement. Vision statements are for prose lovers, so initial drafting may be tasked to a prose writer. 3 or 4 paragraphs should be sufficient and may be created in a shorter version. And descriptive prose must be used. There are instances that the strategic planning team choose not to create a vision statement because they believe that the mission statement says it all. Writing a vision statement, thus, is a judgment call the team has to make. After finalizing the mission and vision statement, the planning team can now move to identifying the students' learning targets. Student learning targets are absolutely essential component of a strategic plan. They have to be measurable and time-bound, sometimes a bit intimidating on the part of the school administrators. The key question is, what are the most important skills and abilities students need to know or be able to do to be prepared for a successful future? And the tips on identifying student learning targets are: gather information from the stakeholders about what they think define an educated student in the community. List what defines a quality education from a stakeholder's perspective. Prioritize academic social skills and abilities. Lastly, to validate the level of performance excellence in establishing learning targets, look at benchmarks and comparisons. And there is no better way to benchmark than Baldrige-Level performance benchmarks. The Baldrige Framework for Performance Excellence is a validated management tool designed to help organizations do just that. The framework, which is the criteria for performance excellence, can help the organizations improve their current operations and achieve long-term sustainability. The framework, which is the criteria for performance excellence, can help improve the organization's current operations and achieve long-term sustainability. The criteria for performance excellence are a set of questions focusing on the critical aspects of management that guide the organization towards success and sustainability. The Baldrige program details the steps the organization may want to take now as they begin the journey to performance excellence using the criteria and the practices and guidance of Baldrige award-winning organizations. Let us now move forward to the second topic, developing the strategy map. A strategy is defined as a set of actions or objectives around a unifying theme. It is also identified as organizations' long-term direction and guide resource allocation and redistributions. Basically, a strategy is what gets you to where it is you want to go, or simply winning. The Baldrige criteria asks, how do you collect and analyze relevant data and information as part of the strategic planning process? And the data to answer the question could be collected by focusing on these factors: strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats, indication of education reforms and shift on technology, student and community demographics, stakeholders' preferences, competitions, and regulatory environment, long-term organizational sustainability, and ability to execute the strategic plan. SWOT analysis is a simple tool with a great payoff. When analyzing the data, it focuses the team conversation into useful and actionable statements. It informs strategy development and deployment. It provides information from various sources, and those sources can be both from internal and external. In the SWOT analysis, the internal factors in the SWOT analysis might include the organization's mission, the adequacy of the assessment system for providing baseline data and information needed to measure students' progress, and other organizational services. On the other hand, external factors might include changing expectations and standards, demographic and enrollment changes, financial projections and support, even opportunities for partnership and alliances, as well as mandated requirements and technological changes. After the SWOT analysis, the strategy map can now be developed. It is a blueprint leaders use to define the strategies that will cause the mission to be accomplished. Kaplan and Norton describe an organization as having 4 perspectives: financial, customer, internal, and learning and growth. Their assertion is that the most private organizations focus only on the financial perspective, leaving the remaining 3 perspectives. They say that if leaders don't spend time thinking deeply about the strategies that influence and improve learning and growth, internal processes and customer satisfaction, they will never approach high performance and they won't sustain themselves over time. In education, financial becomes the base for other perspectives, because without the resources, best strategic plan and best strategies accomplish the strategic plan will create nothing but frustration. Therefore, financial resources for the education sector are the beginning and not the end. This framework shows the causal relationship that if there is a success on doing the fiscal responsibility or something that concerns the financial aspects of the organization, then it can optimize the other strategic goals such as the support system, employee development, stakeholder satisfaction, and most especially, student learning targets. Then, specific strategies have to be developed. To do this, different strategies are considered for adoption. The rule of thumb for accepting or rejecting strategy is for the planning team members to answer 3 questions. First, what strategy or strategies will successfully address the various challenges, goals, and targets, the performance review opportunities for improvement, and the SWOT analysis results. Second, do we have the resources, skill, and ability, or can we develop them to fully deploy this strategy? And lastly, if we fully deploy this strategy, would it create the result we want? After identifying the strategies for each goal, the strategy map may now be finalized. It provides the leaders within the organization the information they need in order to move the strategic plan from an abstract set of goals to an actionable set of priorities. The strategy map can be thought as the game plan of the organizational leaders. This is an example of a strategy map, a simple one that would be appropriate for a general public to give them an idea of how the school plans to achieve the student learning targets. It can also be presented in a more comprehensive manner. And those are the things we have to consider in developing a strategy map and a strategic plan. To put them all together, strategic thinking is synthesizing thinking. It is the process of considering survey data, internal review data, the mission, vision, student learning targets, the challenges, and the SWOT analysis simultaneously to determine what broad strategies will achieve it all. To summarize, we have to know where we are going before we can get there. Thank you for listening.